Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Russell Matthews here, and if you've been considering investing in the stock market in Canada, it's likely you've seen dozens of videos comparing WealthSimple and QuestRade, but I actually believe that this is the wrong question to be asking, like which one of those two brokerages is better. So today in this video, we're going to talk about what questions you should be asking yourself, and why I think the initial question is wrong, and at the end, which brokerage is actually right for you. Now, in order for you to understand the point that I'm going to make about why this question is wrong, I need to give you a little bit of a backstory about how I learned this lesson. So I started investing in stocks when I was around 18 in high school, and my grandfather, who I called my papa, sat me down and he set me up with an investment account with CIBC. That's one of the larger banks in Canada. And he was a big fan of investing, so he said, okay, you're at that age where you should start investing. It's good for your future. So he sat me down and he introduced me to dividend investing. This is where you'll buy sort of a blue chip stock, something that is relatively safe, and they'll give you a return on your money every single quarter based on whatever dividend rate they're paying back to you. The dividend strategy doesn't really matter for this story, but I just wanted to fill you in there a little bit. So what my papa said, he said, buy these stocks, buy them and hold them and sit on them, keep them in this CIBC account, and whenever you get some extra money, you can throw it in there and buy more of the same stocks. So that was his overall strategy, and I thought, okay, hey, great, that's awesome. So each day I'd log in and I'd look at my account and I'd see, hey, it's grown a little bit. And the more and more it grew, the more and more interested I got in investing. I'm like, hey, this is actually a thing that could work. So I got super invested in it and I got super interested in the stock market. So much so that I started looking at it every day, looking at different companies, getting interested in different companies. And what I started to do was I started to sell off some of the investments I had previously made and buy new ones based on what was trendy and what I thought was going to do well. And this was a huge mistake. Little did I know that my brokerage was charging me $5 per trade every time I would make a trade, either a buy or a sell. And the big problem with that was that the amount of money I was moving around at 18 wasn't a lot. So when these $5 transaction fees stacked up, it ended up being a significant portion of the investment itself. Now, there are a couple problems with this because now I'm a big believer in the buy and hold strategy. Hold on to your stocks for the long term. You don't need to sell them. But the other problem that's more relevant to your situation with choosing a brokerage is that you need to be focused on what account actually gives you what you need for your individual situation. When I was with CIBC and I was actively trading and constantly buying and selling, this was obviously not right for me because there was this fee attached to it every single time, and I wasn't trading in the amounts of money where that sort of $5 fee was negligible. And that's the key takeaway here. Nobody can tell you exactly what's right for you unless they know exactly what your plans are for investing. There are all kinds of pros and cons for each different one of these accounts, and you need to know what your plan is before you choose the brokerage. So it's not as simple as asking, okay, QuestRade or WealthSimple, which one's better? It doesn't make sense to think of it in these broad terms. You need to know what your plan is before you can answer these sorts of questions. So what questions should you be asking yourself right now? Okay, so are you planning on investing and being very active with it? Do you want to be researching companies and planning out which ones to buy and sell and spending a significant portion of your day looking at these numbers and trying to sort of figure out which company is the best one to buy right now and which one's the best one to sell? Or do you plan on investing for the long term where you're only using money that you're not going to need for the next 5+ years, recommended 10, and you don't really want to be as active with it? Do you want to be sitting there at your computer studying things? If that's not for you, then you kind of want to go with this more passive approach. Now, I definitely recommend the second approach for me personally and for most people out there. I am somebody who loves to invest in index funds, and that's just investing in a fund instead of investing in individual companies, because I don't believe that I'm smart enough to beat the overall market when it comes to picking the right stocks at the right time. So I choose to invest in the entire market or a representation of the entire market in order to get me my returns. And it's actually been proven that most of these index funds will do better than mutual funds or any kind of managed money that some guy will just put together based on his thoughts. Now, QuestTrade has more advanced options than WealthSimple. If you're somebody who wants to hold your funds in a very specific account and wants to execute very specific strategies, like maybe you're options trading, then maybe QuestTrade would be right for you. Whereas WealthSimple is a little bit more simple. That's kind of why they went with that name. There's only a select few accounts you can hold your money in, and you can only buy from certain markets. But for the beginner investor, I'd actually recommend going with something that only gives you that sort of more narrow scope so you don't get overwhelmed right at the start. And for most investment strategies, WealthSimple is going to give you everything that you need for the long term. Most people don't get into options trading and these more advanced, more daily strategies. So WealthSimple has those tools that you're going to need if you're just trying to set up a portfolio that you can set up, forget about it, maybe trickle in some more money over the long term and just wait and wait and wait while it grows. It's also important to think about how much you're going to invest initially, because QuestTrade has a $1,000 minimum for opening an account there. You have to input $1,000 right off the start before they'll even open up an account for you. And that's a large sum of money for a lot of people who are starting to get into investing, right? And I would definitely recommend getting in and starting to learn about it and starting your investment portfolio as soon as possible, as opposed to maybe trying to save up that $1,000 to open up the account. Since WealthSimple has no minimum, you can get right in there and start your investing journey today. So let's make it as simple as possible. There's so many videos out there that give you every little detail and every little tidbit of information, and you can go watch those if you're interested in it. But it really comes down to two questions to figure out if one platform is better for you than the other. Do you want a low-fee brokerage that allows you to be more active in the research of your stocks and allows for more flexibility in terms of more advanced strategies? Then QuestTrade is definitely for you. Or do you want a low-fee or practically no-fee brokerage that gives you all the basic tools you need to start investing and packages it all into a sleek and very user-friendly interface so that you can get started sooner rather than later? If that sounds good to you, then WealthSimple is likely going to be your best bet. And if you're considering signing up for either of these accounts, check out the links down in the description. I've got a couple referral codes there that'll give you up to $25 bonus into your account when you open an account, so why not use it? And if you found any value in this video, consider sharing it with a friend or a family member who's also interested in getting themselves set up for their future. I mean, that's what this channel is all about. So if you send this video their way, or if you subscribe to the channel, you're bound to learn more that can set you up as a Canadian to have a more financially stable future. And with all of that said, thank you so much for watching, everybody. I really hope this has made things a little bit more clear in terms of this question everybody's asking, why it may not be the right question, and the questions you should really be asking yourself before you choose an online brokerage. And with all that said, I'll see you guys next time.